Good morning and happy Monday. You've got 8 minutes. We've got the stories that actually matter. This is Daily Bagel, the news show built for your morning. Now, in today's show, South Africa's kids are picking up health conditions we used to call middle-age problems. Eskom wants to mine Bitcoin while half the country is still charging power banks. And the Boks beat Italy, but Rassie isn't exactly smiling. Plus a few more twists you'll want to know before your next coffee break. Let's get into it. And kicking us off with current affairs, according to a professor from the South African Medical Research Council, 1 in 10 children under the age of 5 in South Africa are now classified as obese. And doctors are starting to see the consequences here. I mean, a recent study of 430 obese children found that nearly half had high blood pressure, 30% had abnormal cholesterol, and some had even developed type 2 diabetes. All warning signs of future heart diseases and strokes. Now, the rising rate of obesity in young children are being driven by a mix of daily habits, screen time, sugary drinks, lack of exercise, and a food system that often makes the healthy choice the more expensive one. And now that dynamic is quietly shaping the diets of millions of children. And when those patterns start in early childhood, the health consequences stack up fast. Now, researchers say that the damage can be reversed, but only with serious early intervention. If not, South Africa's next generation could face a lifetime of strokes, heart attacks, and chronic illnesses before they turn 40. And on to our quick fire mentions. Cape Town's recent floods have displaced more than 10,000 residents across informal settlements. Now, relief teams are still assessing the damage, while Gift of the Givers and the SPCA have mobilized emergency aid for both people and animals. Action SA has cut ties with the ANC in Johannesburg, accusing the mayor of sidelining coalition partners and ignoring budget consultations. Now, Herman Mashaba says that the relationship is now completely over and that Joburg is now a one-party show. And President Ramaphosa has reportedly been flying on a jet with unresolved engine defects for the past 3 years. The presidential plane failed key safety checks, and due to budget constraints, the Air Force is now relying on commercial flights. And on to our finance section. While Checkers dominates the delivery game, Woolworths seems to be betting on something else, making in-person shopping an experience worth showing up for. You see, with more than 90% of their customers still shopping in-store, they've decided to double down on what already works and try to elevate it. Its new store of the future in Durbanville is the first step, designed less like a grocery store and more like a curated lifestyle space. I mean, we're talking florist stations, sushi bars, live cooking demos, pet aisles, wine cellars, and coffee counters that greet you at the door. And on top of that, I find this fascinating. The store uses AI to track how shoppers move, where they pause, what they skip. And then they use all of this data to redesign the store layouts in real time to improve the shopping experience. It's retail with like a algorithmic backbone. And this isn't a once-off experiment. They've already got 2 more stores launching this year, with a reported national rollout planned after that. And so in a market where Woolies seems to be lagging on delivery, they are making a clear bet here, which is if they can't win on speed, they'll win on experience. And next up, global ratings agency S&P, which is one of the big 3 firms that assess the health of countries and companies, says that South Africa's banking sector has now officially entered an expansionary phase. Translation here, risks are down, balance sheets are stronger, and banks are starting to lend again. Now, this upgrade reflects more than just optimism. You see, it's been reported that household credit is improving, real estate prices are stable, and major investments in infrastructure and energy worth up to 700 billion rand are now unlocking lending opportunities. The S&P has even raised its baseline rating for our local banks, which is a rare shift in a country long stuck in risk-averse mode. So this vote of confidence comes as ratings agencies face growing criticism for how they assess African economies more broadly. But in this case at least, the message is pretty clear. South Africa's banks are no longer just bracing for shocks. They're starting to look for opportunities. And onto our quick fire mentions. Investec has revealed that it now has 4.4 billion rand in exposure to South Africa's petrol stations, calling them key contributors to jobs and local economies. And as fuel sales reportedly decline, many of these stations are turning to retail add-ons to stay viable. Stats SA is considering a register for informal businesses, which has been a move prompted by claims that our official unemployment figures miss millions of informal workers. workers. And if implemented, it could quite literally reshape how we measure South Africa's economy. And onto our sports section. The Springboks opened up their test season with a 42-24 win over Italy at Loftus. But Rassie wasn't exactly smiling after full time. You see, the Springboks led 28-3 at halftime and scored 6 tries, including a captain's effort from Jesse Kriel and a brace from Morne van den Berg, but leaked 3 second-half tries as momentum slipped. Now, Italy, missing key players, disrupted the Boks at the breakdown and technically won the second half 21-14, forcing errors and exposing South Africa's rusty execution. I mean, even the bomb squad misfired, with Rassie admitting that intensity just never clicked. Still though, a win's a win, and for now the Boks head into the second test undefeated. But as the Rugby Championship looms, this was less of a statement of dominance and more of a reminder that we have a lot to work on. And on to our quickfire mentions. The All Blacks held off a spirited French side to win 31-27 in Dunedin, notching their 500th test win. France fielded 8 debutants but still gave New Zealand a serious scare in the final minutes. The Junior Boks overturned a 14-0 deficit to beat England 32-22 in the Under-20 World Championship. After a shaky start, they dominated the second half with sharp running, clinical finishing and massive defensive grit. And Jasper Philipsen took the yellow jersey after winning a chaotic opening stage of the Tour de France. Crosswinds and crashes blew the race apart, leaving Evenepoel, Roglic and Thomas already playing catch-up. And before we hit the wildcard section, here's something to chew on. What was the first real-world item ever bought using Bitcoin? Was it A, a concert ticket, B, a pizza, or C, a plane ticket? We'll give you the answer at the end of the show. And onto our wildcard section. Eskom is considering something that very few could have expected: getting into Bitcoin mining. You see, the CEO explained that as renewable energy and private energy generation eat up grid demand, the utility needs new ways to use its baseload power and generate more revenue. And so one option here is leasing surplus capacity to data centers, AI systems, and yes, Bitcoin mining. So the logic here is that Bitcoin mining needs huge amounts of electricity, but it's flexible. So miners can reportedly scale down instantly when the grid is under pressure and then scale back up when supply exceeds demand. And so that could supposedly help Eskom stabilize the system while earning steady income. One former Eskom engineer claimed that if Eskom had started mining in 2020, it would already be debt-free. So now the utility is asking, is it too late to catch up or just early enough to give it a shot? And as for that Bagel Bite, it was a pizza. You see, back in 2010, a Florida programmer paid 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 large pizzas, the first known real-world Bitcoin purchase. And at today's prices, that would be worth more than $1 billion. I hope you got free delivery. And my friends, that's it for today's show. Thanks so much for tuning in. Just a reminder that if you prefer your news on the go, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Links to both of those are either in the description below or in our bio. Hope you guys all have a great start to the week. Be kind to one another, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Cheers.